welcome to the third session on our rabbit series. This is a series that's been run by myself for anybody who has rabbits and interested to know more about them, and also for anyone who's thinking of having a rabbit being added to the family, and the importance of understanding what rabbits ownership means. So this little webinar is a short one just on companionships. Remembering back to our first webinar of how social rabbits are, living in groups of 5 to 900 within a warren, with then into smaller social groups between around about 4 and 8 as a general understanding on the numbers there. In most situations, rabbits will need other rabbit friends. It increases their activity, reduces things like obesity and boredom. It helps reduce stress. It's part of the 5 freedoms. So if you remember again in the first session, we talked about how for the Rabbits Welfare Association, well, the Animal Welfare Association Act in 2006 that was created, and that's for all animal care. Rabbits do need to have other rabbits as part of the social aspect, and that does come under the Freedoms Act. You really need to ensure that they are neutered. There's multiple reasons for this, but rabbits are prolific breeders, and if you have got a male and a female together, then they will end up having further litters if they haven't been neutered. So first of all, we'll go on about how to sex rabbits. You can easily do this from 6 weeks. And remember that females can be reproductively active from 16 weeks of age. They can have a litter between 2 to 8 kits and then be pregnant again within 24 hours. So when you are looking at purchasing your rabbits, then you really need to ensure that you know what sex they are if you're getting youngsters. And certainly even if you're looking at taking on a new rabbit to bond with an existing one, ensure you know what sex they are as well. So these are 2 rabbit youngsters here around about 6 weeks of age. What we're looking at is a couple of things. It's the distance between the anus here and the genital area here, okay? Now this one is the tail here, the back feet, and it's just gently being examined to determine the sex of the rabbit. Obviously, you must ensure that when you're holding them, you're supporting both the pelvic area and the chest area with no pressure on the chest and freely able to breathe. So the distance here between the anus and the penis is actually very long. The distance between the anus hole and the vaginal opening in the female is much shorter. Okay, so then we also look at the genital area itself. This here almost is like a little tube coming out. Circular region is a boy, whereas this region here is more like a slit. And this is the girl's vaginal opening. So this is your buck and this is your doe. Okay. So talking about spring fever, we have just sort of coming towards the end of spring now, but it is a phenomenon that occurs in rabbits and also in other species during spring. This stimulates the rabbits to go into this is the change in day length, mainly from the shorter days to longer days, but also the change in temperatures from the colder winter climates to the warmer springs. The young fresh grasses are suddenly available and other food suddenly becomes plentiful as well. All these changes will allow the rabbit to spring into this frisky type state. Even neutered rabbits can become frisky. They may start mounting and chasing, and occasionally they may nip their companion. That is all part of the normal phenomenon, and it should pass. So for that reason, we generally recommend not to try bonding majority of rabbits in spring or early summer, and just to wait that little bit longer to allow bonding to occur and to not be confused with the spring fever. If it's not passing and if it's causing injuries to your rabbits, then you may need to separate them for a short space of time, but ideally speak to one of us at the Rabbit Welfare Association Fund who can give you some advice, or your rabbit savvy vet as well. So talking about neutering, why do we neuter animals? Well, the vast majority is to produce unwanted litters, remembering that rabbits are very, very social, and if you have a male and a female, which do make generally quite a good bonding pair, but if they're not neutered, they will produce litters. There's already 67,000 rabbits in rescues across the UK, data from 2018, and we really don't want to be having any more. Okay, so looking at neutering rabbits is really important from an unwanted litter point of view. However, there are other reasons that we neuter animals as well. So in the female, particularly, it's to avoid uterine and ovarian tumours, the tumours of the womb and the ovaries. It helps to prevent the tumours that can occur in the mammary gland, okay? And it also helps prevent other uterine pathologies. So the females can have other problems, which I'll discuss shortly. For the males then, it helps to prevent testicular tumours. And for both species, it helps to reduce behaviour-related problems. Males can be aggressive at any time, particularly males to males. They will try and castrate each other sometimes. They can be very, very nasty, whereas neutered males generally get on a lot better. Females can become very aggressive during the estrus phase, which is part of the reproductive phase. And that can be every month, and they'll start to try to nest build, and they can become very aggressive with it. So neutering males, this is called an orchiectomy, also known as castration. We can do from 12 to 14 weeks of age. We generally do a bit later in giants just to let them grow that little bit longer. Remembering as an owner of a male rabbit that if you've had them neutered and if you've got an entire female still at home, then it can take 6 to 8 weeks for any sperm that's left in the accessory sex glands to be expelled from that gland. So that does mean up to 6 weeks after neutering a male, if you haven't neutered your female could still become pregnant. The prevent testicular tumours in males is very important, as we've already discussed, and it's pretty, it is uncommon because we do neuter most males, but we do need to be very careful if we are leaving a male entire, that we check in those areas regularly. And as we said, it's also behaviour related as well. Males can be very nasty, both to other males and potentially to other females, if they are left entire. So neutering females, this is called an ovariohysterectomy, or commonly known as a spay. We do from 16 weeks, but in some of them we will do younger if they are living with males as well. That not only prevents litters, but importantly, it will prevent adenocarcinoma. That is an extremely nasty and very aggressive tumour of the uterus, which can rapidly spread to things like the liver and the lungs, and it occurs in up to 50% of female rabbits over the age of 2. In New Zealand, white is particularly high as 80%. Okay, there's a very nasty tumour, but it's easily preventable as we neuter. It also, by neutering, you can prevent mammary tumours. If you neuter them less than 6 months old, then there's an 80% less risk of developing a mammary tumour. It also will help prevent things like pyometra, myometras, and hemetra, and hydrometra. Now, they are different conditions. They are either conditions where you've got bleeding into the uterus, for some reason, where you've got muscle damage, or where you've got fluid or infection building there. They can be very nasty and can cause problems, though they are generally resolved by spaying the females. And finally, again, it will produce nested behaviour, which will cause aggression, okay? So that means that your females will generally get on a lot better. And remembering, even neutered animals will undergo a spring fever each year, but for the majority of the year, those animals will get on very, very well. So if you've chosen your rabbit savvy vet and you've taken your animal in to be neutered, male or female, what you should find is that the vet will provide pain relief to take home with you for 3 to 4 days, depending on the animal. You'll need to syringe feed them, ideally at home. Often they will be syringe fed before they leave the premises, and ideally the vets and nurses will see them being eaten on their own as well. You syringe feed them at home just to support their guts as they're moving through, and they should be passing urine and faeces within 12 hours. There's no need for antibiotics in neutering with rabbits, with very rare exception. And then importantly to remember, when your animal, rabbit's being taken in for neutering, you take the companion together. We don't separate them to avoid stress with them and to stop breaking that bond. And post-operatively, keep them together as well. You just need to keep a very close eye on the amount of feces that are being produced. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this session on bonding with the rabbits and neutering. I hope it's been good information to you. If you do like what I'm providing with these webinars, then please follow on the future sessions. Origin Vets on Facebook for social media, also on Instagram as well. And we've also got the Rabbit Welfare Association FUD YouTube for the videos as well. Take care, and I'll see you in the next session.